Okay, so for our parting for our one length bob, we're gonna do a center part up front and continue that center part all the way down through the nape. And we're gonna have our quadrants. And so then the top of the head to the ear is gonna be our front section with that split in the center. In the back, we'll have that other quadrant. And then bring it forward on the front and the back. Okay. So these are our partings through the mannequin. Cool. So once we have that, because it's a level bob, one length level bob versus an angular, well, let's ask you guys this. Do you feel like you would want to see an angular one length bob? Okay. So then with our parting in the back, our diagonal forward is going to be as extreme as the person wants their angle. So if they want a slight angle, your diagonal forward is going to be slight. If they want more of an extreme angle, your diagonal forward is going to be far more extreme. Does that make sense? Because your fingers, once again, are going to be parallel to your partings. And so if my diagonal forward is just this ever so slight, as how it's how I mark it in the mannequin head, that's how my fingers are going to be, ever so slight. But if I need it to be more extreme, then my fingers are going to be parallel with more of an extreme forward, like lob idea. Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit more subtle. So my parting is going to be ever so slight. And so it's going to be higher up in the back center, and it's going to drop lower towards the front. Too slight. Okay. And so then I want to check my balance. And when you look in the back, here is our parting in the back. Cool. So you can see that angle ever so slight going towards the front. When I go to cut it, I'm going to start center, and then I'll move to my left, I'll move to my right, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Typically right-handed people move to their left first and then move to their right because their left is their non-dominant side. So I like to focus on my non-dominant side first. And then for Lily, since you're left-handed, vice versa. Like work on your non-dominant side to the right first. Okay, so I'm gonna comb it straight down in the back. And my section is not gonna be that wide. It's like that mohawk section down on that center parting, because it's directly down from where it lives, okay? So this I'm not having to worry about over directing, because it's the back center where we're a little bit more level with our bob. Whoop. So I'm gonna take that mohawk section, pull it directly down from where it lives, and for our long bob, everybody, let's do to the bottom of this black neck on our mannequin head is where the shortest in the back is going to be. And then we'll angle forward as if it was like, if she had shoulders, this is sitting on her shoulders in the back, and then it's gonna drape to her collarbone in the front. So that's how it's gonna naturally rest for our long bob with the angle forward, okay? So I'm gonna bring my fingers down level with the neck and cut that straight across. Now I'm gonna bring my section on my left side, and I'm gonna put my fingers in there, matching up with that back center that I just cut. And I'm gonna match the points of my fingers up with that, since I'm right-handed. And Lily, for you, you're gonna have the back of your right hand in here with your point of your fingers going forward, okay? So the points of my fingers are now down to my guide. And now I need like my hand to drop if I need to like adjust myself so that my fingers are parallel with my parting, okay? Once I've done that, I can cut that hair, recomb if you need to ensure that you aren't cutting past your second knuckle, but still pay attention to the position of your hand to make sure your fingers are matching your parting. So now if you see, we're gonna now start dropping below the black line of the mannequin neck as we angle forward, and it's really not that extreme of an angle back there. Cool? Oop, missed a spot. Okay, now right-handed, as I move to my right-hand side, the back of my knuckles are at the guide in the center and the points are going towards the front, and my fingers are going to mimic my parting, and then back here is where my guide is, so I'm going to cut towards my guide. Okay, and now I can check for balance. A little bit more of a point over here. There it is. Okay. Got my balance? All right, so now when I go to drop my next section, when I go to cut that hair, because we're creating tension, when we're pulling it down to that 0, if I were to cut it at my guide and release it, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago too with the one length, but if I release it, what's going to happen with that tension? What's going to happen to my perimeter on my new section I cut versus my old one? Yes, it's going to bounce up, and so then that's creating what? Graduation, correct. So I don't want to create graduation with this cut. So I'm going to cut it ever so slightly longer than my guide, so that when it springs up, it's level with my guide. Now I don't want to leave a ton of room. It's not going to be like a ½ an inch longer or anything like that. It is literally ever so subtle. So can you all see my guide here? Yeah. I'm not going to cut at my guide. I'm going to go just like maybe a ½ of an inch longer, an 1/8 of an inch longer. Really not that much space, okay? Over here, like this is my guide at, like right at my fingers. I'm going to come out ever so slightly longer than my guide. Do you see that? Okay. So put my fingers in, find my guide, go just below my guide. My fingers are still matching my partings, and I'm moving with my guide. You could over direct if you wanted to for ease, as long as you're still seeing your guide and doing it, because that over direction is going to feed into the fact that you're going to be going longer as you go towards the front. Do whatever is more comfortable for you, but if it makes more sense visually to stand directly where it's at and bring it down, then make sure your fingers are matching your parting and comb it directly down from where it lives. But we don't have a back. A back I feel like makes it easier to like over direct and pull it behind and cut it and see it. But because it's just hanging, I think it's easier to pull it down directly where it lives. And then I'm going to make my way over here and go just below my guide. Having my fingers match my partings. Checking my balance. Very good. This next section, we are going to be going above the ear. So what are we going to do? What are we? Incorporate the front. Yes, we're incorporating the front. So I'm going to put in my parting. My like next section that I put in is mimicking my previous section. Like pay attention to that. Like, okay, that's where that is. So that you're keeping with the same angle the entire time. and then continue it towards the front. Okay?
Just parallel them all the way up until you drop the final section.
And then over here.
This is gonna be one of those haircuts where your sections are super clean.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna look your way and lose your way.
She's got this thing, so we're gonna ignore our face framing. It'll all make sense at the end with her haircut, but you've got not a lot in the front to go with right now. That's okay. So once again, bringing it down, cutting it slightly below the guide because we're creating that tension. But once it shrinks up, it's going to be level. Cutting parallel with my parting. I'm not going to put this into consideration, that face framing that we just did in our shag. I'm just going to keep moving forward with this as my guide. Okay? Just below. Just below with my fingers parallel to my parting. Okay? The other way you can check yourself, a little harder to do on this mannequin head, but if you had a person with a back and all that kind of stuff, if you've cut too short that you've created some graduation, if you comb smooth and rest your hand along their head and comb, you will see little under hairs make their way out. And then I don't try and be perfectly blunt with those. I will just go in and like point cut anything off like that and get rid of it. Same with like when you come over here to the shoulders, like I'll comb and see if anything makes its way out from underneath and exposes itself with that, with the perimeter that you just cut, okay? So now we're gonna drop this last section because it's got a lot of layering in it, so there's probably not gonna be anything to cut, but we're still gonna drop it and check it. So there's a little bit up front that we can cut. Back in here, it's layered.
It's only 2 hairs you can cut.
Right. So my fingers parallel with my guide now because I'm not having, because it's a center part, I now don't have a parting guide happening anymore. Now I'm just bringing it down from where it naturally lives and following my perimeter guide that I've already established in the front.
With this haircut, if they have like a deep side part, you just let it fall naturally, correct? You're not letting it like
You're not parting it in the middle?
No.
Okay.
Because if I were to part it in the middle and somebody has this extreme like side part,
Yeah.
if I cut it in the middle at an angle long like this and I were to part now from here, by the time it travels over, it's going to be longer than the side over here because it was balanced center. It is not going to be balanced when I side part it.
So you just cut it with the side part?
Correct.
Okay.
Cut your bobs with the parting. Now, even though we're not going to layer this bob, I would still come up and based off of wherever the part is, if the part's center, I'm going to still bring everything up and make sure it connects. If the part were on the side over here, then instead of bringing it up to center, I'm going to bring it this way based off of
Like the opposite
my
way from the
parting
No, on the side of the
on
part.
the side of the
Oh,
part. So if my part is over here, I'm bringing either side of the section of hair on either side of that side part directly straight out and cutting it at that point in time to make sure it connects.
'Cause you
So
want
that if
level.
their part moves ever so slightly with it being one length and not layered, it stays balanced and you don't end up with a random long strand of hair.
Okay.
Good question. So I'm like between two mirrors
All
over
I
there.
see is my belly on that screen.
Stop.
See it, the gray? It's right here.
You're so silly.
Yeah, it is.
Hope you guys adore it while you watch this video.
Right? Remember when Whitney was pregnant and our Bob plan? All right, check your balance, and we are good. Okay. With this layering already being in there, like I would tell you a shag like we did earlier with longer hair is not only gorgeous with long hair, it is gorgeous with a bob. So once this, if I were to let this dry, since we're going to be going into a different cut, like I think you guys would love the look of this shag with her bob as well, and that like curtain bang and everything that she's got going on. Now, if I were cutting like a bob at the jaw, I want to ensure that if they have a bang, like how this mannequin head does, that if they've got more of a rounder face, I would split my curtain bang to be a center part and not completely close off the forehead, because that's going to make their face feel what? Really wide. Yeah, they're going to feel rounder than they were before. So if somebody wants to have a bang that has a rounder face and they're going for a shorter bob look, don't close it off and make it this heavy bang, because then it's just going to feel really wide right here. The second you put that center part in there with that shorter hair, you're still elongating the face and drawing the line here and not here. Does that make sense? Okay. So, does everybody want to come up and look at this and see how it looks and feels with that bottom length? You can go in and put your hands in it, check balance, all that kind of stuff.